Hello everyone, welcome. Today I want to make a very short video here to talk about meditation. What meditation is. It's a very special way of becoming centered so that you're not totally reactive to the world and totally taken in by the world and totally incorporated into the world. See, there's an incorporation process that goes on where people gobble up, the world gobbles up a little bit of you, and in exchange you gobble up a little bit of them. They become you and you become them. But you have to be your true person. And your true person is a child of God. And in a sense, not really, but sort of, just to continue with the little analogy, he gobbles up you, and you gobble up a little bit of him. And how is this possible? How is it possible that a human being, a lowly creature that we are, could possibly communicate and relate to the Creator? Well, we know that it's possible because you know in your heart what He likes and what He doesn't like, don't you? You knew when you were a little child, when you were very close to Him, when you hadn't been totally gobbled up by the world and the world gobbled you up. You know, for example, that He doesn't like people who are mean and hateful. He doesn't like people who do bad things to other people. And you, for example, you knew those things, didn't you? You knew that it wasn't right to cheat other people or lie to them. You knew in your heart that was true. And you knew that He liked sweet things like the innocence of children and love. So you sort of know what He likes, don't you? So that means that you can relate to Him. You understand Him a little bit. And if you understand Him, imagine how much He understands you. So we know that it's possible, but God is so great. How can we relate to Him? Well, you know how. Through His Son. See, God knew that we couldn't relate to Him very well, so He sent His Son. Because He is a person like you. And He was able to remain close to the Father all the way so that you, when you relate to what is good, then God sends His Son to rescue you. It's a mysterious thing, but it's beautiful. And it can happen in your lifetime. So how do you do it? Well, you have to begin to find out how to relate to Him. And it begins with a very simple thing. See, if it was complicated, if you had to get a PhD in theology and you had to work hard at it and so on, then it would never happen, would it? So it's got to be something simple. God understands us. He knows it has to start with something very simple. And it does. It starts with learning to be still. Because when you learn to be still, then you're not running away with your thoughts. You see, your thoughts run away with you all the time. They want to take you away from stillness. And other people, they always want something from you. See, they want to keep gobbling at you. See, once you fall into the gobbling life, where you gobble up them and they gobble up you, then that's all there is. And when people are gobbling on them, then they're being gobbled up. They have to replace what was gobbled up by gobbling on somebody else. So they eat a little bit. Other people are feeding on them, and then they feed on you. So you have to stop that. Stop eating up other people and stop letting them eat you. Now, we could go into great detail on that, but right now I want to keep it simple. And I want to say that the way to stop it happening is to begin relating to your Creator. And then you're no longer giving your life to other people, but you're receiving life from Him. Now, how can you know your Creator? Well, I already said you know in your heart. But another way is by becoming still and getting out of your thoughts. So you can't know God through your thoughts. You can have intellectual knowledge about things, but you need to experience Him. So how do you do that? You become still. And then maybe you could close your eyes. In fact, you can do that now if you want to. While I'm talking, you close your eyes and look and see the little pixels of light. With your eyes closed, you see little pixels of light, like on the inside of your eyelids or like on the inside of your forehead. You just kind of gaze toward the front, toward your forehead, with your eyes closed, and you see little pixels of light. Those little pixels of light are from the Creator. That's right, they are light from God. And you want to know that they're there. You close your eyes, and there they are. Now, there's great power and magic in those little pixels of light from the Creator. You need them to flood your being. All right, so let's begin that happening. How do you do that? Well, with your eyes closed, you're watching the little pixels of light. Then what you do is you become aware of your hand in your lap or by your side. You become aware of your hand. And you're aware, you're watching the little pixels of light, and you're also aware of your hand. You notice your hand. Just keep noticing your hand. When you notice it, it becomes a little bit tingly. So now you see the pixels of light, and at the same time you notice your hand. So what you're doing is you're extending the light to your hand, through your body to your hand. And it begins to tingle a little bit as you notice it. And sometimes it may become a little bit warm. When it becomes warm, if it doesn't become warm, don't worry about it. But sometimes it may become warm. Or you may be walking down the street and you notice your hands and they're warm. Or maybe somebody presented some temptation. They were giving you a hard time. They wanted you to resent them. They wanted you to hate them. They wanted you to get angry at them. They wanted you to knuckle under and become upset. And instead, you stood back and just watched. And you didn't fall for it. You didn't become angry. You just watched. And then they went away. And for not hating them, for not resenting them, for not judging them, you receive God's approval. You feel your hands a little warm. And it's a spiritual embrace. So the process is very simple. And you can do this little meditation anytime. All it is becoming aware of your Creator by becoming still, looking at the little pattern, the little glow of light on the inside of your eyelids, and then extending it through your being by being aware of your hand. You can be aware of both hands. You can be aware of your whole body, of your feet. Your whole body can become a little warm or tingly. But on the other hand, if it doesn't, don't worry about it. Just do the little process. Do it in the first thing in the morning. Do it at noon if you can, in the evening, 3 times a day, or anytime you have a couple of moments. It's like centering yourself. Now, we've heard the term mindful a lot. Mindfulness, mindful meditation, living mindfully. We sort of We sort of get it, don't we? We sort of understand what that means. But the only thing is there's something missing. Mindful of what? Mindful of God. So Christ, in the Last Supper, he said, do this in remembrance of me. So being mindful is being a little bit mindful of what is right. Or for every moment that you live, you sort of always know that you're supposed to do what is right and not do what's wrong. You sort of know that in the back of your mind. And when the moment comes, when the test comes, when the trial comes, when the temptation comes, when somebody's there with something, then in that mindful moment, you do the right thing, or you don't do the wrong thing, or you don't know what to do and you don't do anything and you wait until you do know. Life becomes increasingly simple when you live it with mindfulness of your Creator. He is Father God. So, Father God is the one you want to get closer to. You want to be, as in the Old Testament, they talked about being in Abraham's bosom. Well, you want to be in the bosom of God, close to Him, His child. Then you won't be gobbling up other people anymore. You know, in the past, you used to sometimes say mean things or tricky things, or you would act in a certain way. You wanted people to be upset. You wanted to get to them. Let's put it that way. You wanted to get to them. So you had little things you could do to get to them. And they did little things to get to you. And now you stop doing that. Now you won't do that anymore. And once in a while, you're still going to blow it. Yeah, you're going to blow it. See, there's a lot of the world in you. Maybe this will be a comfort to you. There's a lot of the world in you. And what is it? There's a term I could use, but I won't use it. You know, when somebody is I can't use the term, but there's that in you. Jerk. I'll just say jerk. I won't use the term that I was going to use, but I think you know what I mean. When you say, hey, the guy's a real, you know what I mean. Well, there's a lot of that in you. And it comes out. It got into you from the world. It wasn't you in the beginning. You weren't that way in the beginning, but it got into you from the world, from your parents, other people. Who knows where it came from? But it got in there. So there it is. And it comes out sometimes and you have to see it. And sometimes all you do is just see it. Sometimes you see it coming up a little bit and then you just don't express it. Sometimes, if you're not paying attention, it comes out. There it is. Maybe if you're lucky, you can right away say, hey, I'm sorry. I apologize. That wasn't right. If you're lucky, you can do that. But if it comes out and then the other person goes away, then you see it. Then you can be sorry. You can be sorry. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll be able to go to them and say, hey, what I said, that wasn't right. I'm sorry. I apologize. But if you can't, then you just bear the little bit of pain of seeing it and move on with your life. And as you see it come out, it'll come out. And when it comes out, you just see it. And God will see to it that you see it and that you're sorry for it. And He'll make it go away. But first you have to see it. But that's life then. Then it's a process initially, when you start, there's a huge catharsis. But then as the years go by, little bits and pieces of this jerk that got into you from the world, it'll come out, you'll see it, and then it's gone. And It's a process of being refined and being purified, and God is in charge of it. You can't make it happen. So, the little meditation, if your eyes are still closed, you can open your eyes now and see how simple it is. You close your eyes, you watch the little pixels of light, and you become aware of your hand or your hands. It's very simple, but you should do it. So you can be mindful of Him, mindful of what's right, mindful. And in that state of mind, it's actually a heavenly state of mind. See, when you're closer to Him, you're close to heaven. When you're close to other people, well, the closer you get to them, the more animal you are, the more emotional you are, the more you're prone to lower thinking. But not only that, but you're closer to hell. The hell that's in them and wants to get in you. So it's important that you begin to learn how to separate from thought and just sit quietly and watch the little pixels of light and know that God is there and know that He loves you and He wants the best for you. All you have to do is be still for Him and be mindful. And at certain times and places, you will be reminded, and then you won't do the wrong thing. It's that simple.